Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I do talk about reality TV kind of often-ish on my channel, hoping to talk about it more. So today I want to talk about a different side of reality television. So I'm sure most of us have watched some sort of reality TV show where someone got a home or car makeover, or a talk show where everyone in the audience won some massive prize, and you wish that it was you because, of course, who doesn't like, brand new fancy things? But what a lot of people don't realize is that sometimes these large prizes or gifts or rewards can come with a lot of stipulations to the point where they're more of a burden than a gift. And sometimes these gifts or prizes or rewards can be life and career changing. In 2004, MTV premiered Pimp My Ride, hosted by rapper Exhibit. Each episode of the show features someone with a car in poor condition that gets restored, and other additions are added to suit the owner's personal style. Over the seasons, the crazy modifications included a clothes dryer, an aquarium, a chocolate fountain, and an electric fireplace. Often, many of the renovations and modifications were more for cosmetic reasons and shock value than practicality. Several participants of Pimp My Ride reported their car being worse off than it was before it arrived at West Coast Customs. Pimp My Ride was one of MTV's most popular shows in its prime and had viewers worldwide. However, after a few seasons, several former participants spoke out about how much of it was faked. For example, their cars were often trashed to make them appear in worse condition initially than they really were, just for dramatic effect. Participants in seasons 4 to 6 revealed a lot of the mods added to the cars were removed right after filming because they violated California traffic laws. So a lot of the features that were shown on the cars, the contestants didn't even get to make use of. A contestant named Justin Dieringer had a pop-up theater and a champagne contraption installed in the back of his car, but both were removed after cameras stopped rolling because obviously they weren't deemed to be street safe. He also said that the Pimp My Ride team or West Coast Customs didn't really listen to a lot of the requests that he gave as far as what he wanted for his car. For example, he told them that he hated the color red, but when he got his car back, the car's interior was almost entirely red. Another contestant, Seth Martino, said his car was equipped with a robot arm that never seemed like it was intended to work. For show purposes, it was laptop controlled by someone off screen, but Seth said it was basically just an arm with a bunch of wires attached. Some of the other additions to his car seemed to be either low quality or unsafe, from LED lights that overheated while driving to TV screens that didn't work after filming. They also installed butterfly doors in the rear of the vehicle, which couldn't be kept because the mechanism used for them prevented seat belts from being installed. Seth also had to have the cotton candy machine in the back of his car removed because it was flinging pieces of cotton candy throughout the car. Several participants said Pimp My Ride focused on the looks of the car and didn't really focus on issues when it came to how the car ran or its safety.
Whoa. What do you think of the car, man?
What'd you do to it?
Nothing.
Oh my God.
Some reported having to take their cars to a different garage after filming so that actual repairs could be made. Jake Glazer, another participant, noticed his car still needed a muffler and the car was making a sound because of it. Instead of fixing this for him, Pimp My Ride put a fake exhaust pipe on the vehicle to make it seem like the noise that the car was making was intentional. Jake, who had no experience with cars, was able to fix the muffler himself, leaving him to wonder why such a simple fix hadn't been done on the show. He later sold the car and was informed by the new owner that the engine had gone out soon after. As part of their contract, participants on Pimp My Ride aren't allowed to disclose the car had been on the show when they sell it. Another issue with Pimp My Ride is that while the show would lead you to believe that these customizations only took a couple days, in reality they took around 6 to 7 months, which meant in the meantime participants, most of them had to rent cars in order to get around. Seth said that he had to rent a car for the majority of the time that his car was being customized, and it took him almost 2 years from the time that his episode was aired to be fully reimbursed by MTV. Though a lot of people who were on Pimp My Ride said that they had a positive experience, it really sucks for the people who didn't, especially if they actually needed improvements made to their cars. Often people were left with a car with more problems than it had when they brought it onto Pimp My Ride because the modifications added weight to the cars, or because some of the damage and the repairs that the cars needed had never actually been fixed, so that means that they actually got worse in the meantime. Similar to Pimp My Ride, Extreme Makeover Home Edition and several similar home renovation shows have left several families with more of a financial burden than they had before they were featured on the show. A viral Reddit thread asked for any families who've been featured on a show like this to come forward and share their experience, as well as reveal the current condition of their home, and a lot of the responses were genuinely shocking. Several respondents claimed a lot of the work had been rushed and it didn't hold up well. Many also said that the so-called renovations did damage to their homes that cost thousands to repair. A Redditor who owned a countertop company claimed he was hired to repair a home after the contractors for the Property Brothers had left the renovations unfinished. Instead, the show filmed strategically to only capture the good parts of the home. However, some of the cabinets and countertops were incomplete, and he claimed the homeowners were livid. In May 2022, a married couple filed a lawsuit over a 2019 renovation that was also featured on Property Brothers. The renovation allegedly left the home with multiple safety and health hazards. Some of the issues included electrical work done without the proper permit and an improperly installed gas line for the stove. The couple didn't name the Property Brothers in the suit, but sued the show and the contractors hired to do the work. According to the New York Times, several of these home makeover shows put participants in strict contracts where they're not allowed to publicly complain about the renovations, and they can potentially be sued for libel or slander if they do. Another Redditor claimed her friend helped with the construction on a home featured on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. However, a lot of the build was done in the rain and extreme cold, leading to several structural problems within the home. Apparently, when the homeowner went to Extreme Makeover to have it fixed, they were told that since they received the home makeover for free, it was up to them to fix the issues out of pocket. Several homes featured on Extreme Makeover Home Edition have gone into foreclosure. In 2008, the Nicholas family was featured on the show just months after losing their father and husband. Widow Arlene reached out to the show for help renovating her home, which she could no longer afford with the loss of her husband.
I know you've been going through a lot, having to go through alone, raising the boys. I know Tim had huge plans for you guys. I know we had some dreams, and hopefully this week we're gonna make some of those happen, okay?
I can't believe this. I just can't believe this.
The show demolished her home and rebuilt a new one in just 5 days. Often, these expensive renovations are done to a home and the property value skyrockets, which leads to higher taxes. After their renovations, the Nicholas family was stuck with a $5,500 increase on their property taxes. The utilities usually increase as well after these renovations, which sticks families with other increased bills. By the end of 2016, the Nicholas family's $30,000 mortgage had increased to $113,000 and the home went into foreclosure. Sometimes people don't even ask for these expensive gifts or remodels and instead they get surprised with them. Probably the most iconic television giveaway was when Oprah gave her entire studio audience new cars.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3. You get a car! 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 You get a car!
This was actually part of her Oprah's Favorite Things segment, and she gave away 276 Pontiac G6 sedans back in 2004, I believe, and each car was worth about $30,000. Though the historic moment was painted as an act of life-changing altruism on Oprah's part, it wasn't necessarily that. The cars were donated by Pontiac, and the giveaway was orchestrated in hopes of creating interest in their new cars. The cars weren't paid for by Oprah, but by Pontiac's advertising budget, and the stunt cost almost $8 million. It was actually Oprah's best friend Gail who was approached by a Pontiac executive with the idea, and she passed it along to Oprah. For Oprah's part, she had her producers ensure the audience was filled with people who actually needed a new car. Pontiac paid the sales tax and registration for the cars, which was about $1,800 per car, but the recipients still had to pay state and federal income taxes. These taxes ended up being between $6,000 and $7,000 for most, which obviously wasn't ideal for someone who was already struggling to get a car. Because of this, many of the recipients took out a car loan. Several others traded in the car for one that they could afford or sold the car to pay the taxes and then kept the profit. Apparently, this is a common move made by the Price is Right winners who also win expensive cars or appliances that they can't afford or don't want or need. One of Oprah's producers did say that audience members had the opportunity to not accept the car and just take a cash prize instead, but of course they would have been taxed for taking the cash too if they made that choice. She also said that it was disheartening that they tried to do something nice for people and instead they were worried about the taxes they'd been stuck with, which in my opinion, that's a completely valid thing to be worried about, especially since it was thousands of dollars these people were now responsible for paying if they kept the car. That same year, Oprah did another Favorite Things giveaway for teachers with their prizes totaling about $13,000. The prizes included a TV set, a laptop, and a washer-dryer set. This time around, to avoid the recipients being unable to pay the taxes on their new items, the teachers were each given a $2,500 check to cover them. However, the taxes totaled between $4,500 and $6,000. The most iconic part of each My Super Sweet 16 episode is when the birthday girl or boy gets their new car, and it's usually some sort of top-of-the-line luxury dream car, which makes sense based on how extravagant a lot of these parties are. However, not every participant on this show actually drives away with the car that they're shown getting on screen. A caterer who worked on one of the episodes said that although they filmed a teen receiving a BMW X5, it was just for the cameras and they really got a Honda or Toyota. Much like with Pimp My Ride, the car reveals are completely staged. However, with Super Sweet 16, some teens had to react as if they were receiving a luxury vehicle that they weren't really getting. You know, I totally get wanting to show off a nice car on TV, but it has to suck to be on camera and have to act as if you're receiving your dream car when you know you're not really getting it. But to be fair, some of the teens on the shows did actually get the cars that were shown on TV, especially some of the wealthier families, but it wasn't every single teen on the show getting the car that we saw as Super Sweet 16 would lead you to believe. So what about competition shows that offer prizes rather than some sort of giveaway or renovation? One big misconception is that winners of cash prizes always receive one big check for that prize amount, but that's not always the case. Aside from getting to headline the America's Got Talent Vegas show, contestants compete for $1 million prize. However, the winners don't receive that $1 million in full. They can choose to either be paid out an annuity of $25,000 for 40 years or take the lump sum with taxes deducted. Since tax rates vary over time, this usually ranges between $300,000 and $400,000. However, season 5 winner Michael Grimm allegedly only took home about $200,000 in winnings. Another competition reality show known for its prizes is America's Next Top Model. Over the several cycles, the prizes changed, but I think one of the most remembered and iconic prizes was the $100,000 CoverGirl contract. This could include work for CoverGirl from print modeling to any help with other campaigns they had going on to commercials. Some of the girls like Eva, Danny, and Nicole had their contracts with CoverGirl extended past their initial term from winning A&TM. However, many winners claim that after their initial campaign that they did for CoverGirl after they won A&TM, they weren't hired really to do any more work. The $100,000 for the contract was paid out to the models over a period of 4 years. I saw an A&TM Reddit thread likening the CoverGirl contract to being more of like a booth babe than an actual model. There were also several times when challenge winners on A&TM didn't receive the prize that they were promised. Cycle 9 winner Celicia won a challenge in which she'd get to model in a fashion show in Paris, but the show never happened. Of course, this isn't A&TM's fault, but she was also never given an alternative prize or given a chance to model elsewhere. A common prize for acting-related challenges was a small guest spot on a TV show. In the All-Star season, Brie won a spot on CSI, but never made her appearance. Claire from Cycle 10 won a trip to Bora Bora, but she ended up giving away the tickets because she didn't want to be taxed for accepting them. Several challenge winners who were awarded with expensive jewelry chose to do the same thing. So yes, they did get their prizes, but it kind of sucks that there's a burden or stipulation, or maybe you could owe money if you take a prize that you won fair and square. Throughout the show, the prize package included being signed to several different modeling agencies from Wilhelmina Models to Next to IMG. However, several models who were on the show prior said that being on America's Next Top Model actually made it harder for them to book agencies and book work as models because they weren't taken seriously just because, they were on a reality TV show. According to season 1 winner Adrienne Curry, she didn't actually get to work with Wilhelmina Models as promised. She was signed to the agency, but felt that they sabotaged her after A&TM went with IMG Models for season 2. Adrienne said that in order to spite Tyra in the show, Wilhelmina worked harder to promote Elise, who had placed 3rd. She claimed she tried to get Top Model to help her terminate the contract with Wilhelmina, but no help was given. Adrienne's prize package also included a contract with Revlon. However, she claimed she was only offered $15,000 for a small amount of makeup modeling that never appeared in any ads. She said, "After the show, Revlon informed me it didn't matter who won, they were never going to have us as a model. I cried at that meeting and they felt bad. They had me sit in a makeup chair in a tiny conference room while 6 people watched a makeup artist put makeup on me for money. Fine, sure, I was crushed. I believed what I won with all my heart and thought I'd be able to really help my family. That is why I said it at the very end of the show. However, I was offered money to sit in the chair, so I was stoked." Adrienne also said that voiceovers were done in post-production in an effort to appear to change what had been said to the girls about their prizes. Cycle 23 winner India Gantz claimed in a YouTube video that she didn't receive all the prizes she was promised either. Her cycle aired in 2017 and Top Model had since switched networks to VH1. The show also had several lineup changes, and Tyra didn't host or judge this cycle. Prizes included a year-long talent contract with VH1, a spread in Paper magazine, a contract with Rimmel London, and a $100,000 cash prize. India said that although they shot the Rimmel commercial and it appeared online, she was pretty sure it never aired on television.
So let's start with the Rimmel London commercial. Yes, obviously you guys saw on TV, we did shoot the Rimmel London commercial, and people told me that they saw it online, but I don't think it ever aired on TV. Tell me if you saw it somewhere, but I don't think it ever aired on TV as much as I would like to think it did. I never saw it.
Concerning the cash prize, she said that VH1 handed her a check for $100,000 in full.
Let's get into the $100,000 cash prize. This is always a really interesting topic because you hear all sorts of things from reality TV people about how they didn't get their money or it was taxed or whatever, this and that. Basically, one day I had a meeting with the VH1 team and they were like, and here's your check, by the way. And they handed me the check and it was literally a check for $100,000. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I had never had that much money in my entire life.
India said about 3/4 of it went to her living expenses in New York, where she had moved to pursue her career and fulfill some of the contracts she'd won. India claimed she'd never been informed how much the game show tax was for A&TM and found herself in debt after she owed more money in taxes than she had remaining. Over 2 years after winning, India said she was still making monthly payments on the taxes that she owed. To be fair, she'd admitted she'd been advised by her dad to put some of her prize money away, but obviously that proved difficult after her move to New York. As far as the VH1 talent deal went, India said that she was only asked to be on Hip Hop Squares and Snoop Dogg's Potluck Dinner Party show, but her manager rejected both the offers because they were off-brand. It seems like if you win Top Model and get a VH1 talent deal from that, the work that you're doing should be related to acting or modeling or hosting or something similar. Also, being America's Next Top Model is not a real title, unlike, Miss America or Miss Universe or something like that, so it doesn't hold any weight in the modeling industry. A lot of former contestants and winners from America's Next Top Model actually said that they received little to no help from Tyra or any other members of the show when it came to getting started with their modeling career or any pointers actually navigating the modeling world. America's Next Top Model is classed as a game show or a reality TV show, so it holds no real weight in the modeling world. Yaya DaCosta actually said that once she started acting, several directors told her that if they knew that she'd been on America's Next Top Model, they probably wouldn't have moved forward with casting her. Aside from cash prizes, fancy cars, and contracts, a lot of participants appear in reality TV hoping to gain some fame or proximity to a celebrity. In a lot of these shows, the prize is a position working for a celebrity or even a friendship or relationship with them. In 2008, Paris Hilton had her own short-lived reality show in which she hunted for her new BFF.
I don't know if I can have a boy BFF.
It's okay.
I think it should be a girl.
Don't worry. I understand.
Steven, I love you.
I love you too
you're
so
amazing.
much. So are you.
You're beautiful. You're
Thank
fun.
you.
You're sexy. You're
Thank
hot.
you.
Paris had contestants complete a series of challenges to prove why they were best suited to be her new sidekick. Season 1 winner Brittany Flickinger said that she and Paris actually did become friends briefly, but not best friends, and even traveled together. The friendship ended once Season 2 of the show was announced. Brittany said it made her feel like Paris was replacing her. It also seemed that instead of hanging out with Brittany, Paris was choosing to hang out with her more famous friends, which were probably also her actual friends, unlike Brittany. Paris said that she had to look for a new BFF because Brittany had become fame hungry. Paris Hilton's My New BFF is clearly scripted and fake, and Brittany said it had been obvious to her from the beginning that she'd been cast as the person intended to win the show. She said that she only tried out as a joke, but as she and Paris filmed, they did become closer to the point where they had somewhat of a genuine friendship. The show was obviously just a publicity stunt and seemed like, just another TV opportunity for Paris now that her and Nicole were no longer friends, and now that Kim Kardashian was starting to make a name for herself in her own right in the reality TV world. The show's creators claimed that they weren't serious about My New BFF, and it was intended to be a parody of other reality shows. Creator Jed Elenoff said, "We just thought, what else can you possibly compete for in a reality TV show? How stupid can it get?" Several contestants weren't even on the show to win Paris's friendship, but to hopefully launch their own careers as socialites. Brittany now works as a creative director and said she wished she hadn't done the show. It didn't create a lasting friendship with Paris, and it made it harder for her to find a career because of the reality TV stigma. The same year as Paris, Diddy also premiered a reality show in which he was on the hunt for a new assistant. Of course, the popularity of these types of competition shows was brought on by the popularity of The Apprentice. Diddy's show, called I Want to Work for Diddy, put contestants through several challenges in order to prepare them for his fast-paced lifestyle.
I'm going to take a hands-on, foot and ass, all over your brain approach. I don't want to bug out on national TV. To finding this assistant. Everybody just go home now, we get another group of applicants. You want a rat this size crawling up your ass?
Laverne Cox was actually a contestant on the first season, marking her television debut. Unfortunately, she didn't win though. The winner of I Want to Work for Diddy was a woman named Suzanne Siegel. Some sources call Mike Barber the runner-up, while others say he was a co-winner of the show, as Diddy also offered him a position. In a joint interview after the series finale, they revealed they hadn't yet received their job assignments. While this makes sense for Mike, it doesn't explain why Suzanne hadn't received a job title yet, when on TV she'd won the role as Diddy's assistant. Suzanne's personal website does say that she worked as an assistant for Diddy, but outside of that, I really can't find any proof of this happening online. Like, if you Google it, you don't see any pictures of them together, there's no articles about it, and if you Google Diddy's assistant, the only person who still pops up is Farnsworth Bentley. In a 2019 podcast, Suzanne vaguely says that she worked for Diddy before more specifically saying she was his assistant. She didn't give any specifics as to what the job was like or any work that she did, but she does say that it wasn't for her and that she was let go, which was probably because season 2 had been confirmed. I haven't found any proof of what exactly Mike did for Diddy, but his LinkedIn says he was Diddy's personal assistant. I would take this with a grain of salt though, because according to Mike, he started the position in April of 2008, when Suzanne wasn't even announced as the winner of the show until October of 2008. So while there's no definitive proof that Suzanne and Mike weren't Diddy's assistants, I do find it odd that I can't find any proof confirming they were, other than their own claims. Several Hell's Kitchen winners have come forward about not receiving the prize that was advertised. Typically, if you win Hell's Kitchen, the prize that's advertised is a head or executive chef position with either a $250,000 cash prize or $250,000 salary. There have been several times when the winner of the show didn't have the necessary experience to lead a whole restaurant or to have that head or executive position, so I guess that makes sense because you can't really hand someone a whole entire restaurant just because they won a TV show, even if that might have been what you promised. Back in 2005, season 1 winner Michael was awarded $250,000, which in that season was meant to help him open his own restaurant. However, he was asked by Gordon mid-celebration if he'd instead like to work in one of his London restaurants. Michael accepted on the show, but he never actually went to London. He admitted years later that this was because he was battling an addiction. Season 2 of Hell's Kitchen claimed the grand prize was an executive chef position at the Red Rock Casino Resort Spa in Vegas. However, winner Heather West was told that she'd receive a senior chef position at one of the other eateries at the resort. She admitted, "Honestly, they're not really going to completely trust someone they saw on TV with a multi-million-dollar restaurant. But I did work at all the restaurants in the resort, learned a huge amount, and a lot about promotion and marketing." Season 7 winner Holly Ugalde won a position at the Savoy Grill in London. However, she was unable to accept after ITV Studios allegedly failed to properly complete her visa paperwork. Instead, she was paid a cash amount in compensation. On Reddit, season 11 contestant Dan Ryan advised hopefuls not to get too excited about the prizes mentioned on Hell's Kitchen, as many winners actually end up working as glorified line cooks. He also revealed that winners who didn't take their restaurant position and $250,000 salary instead received a $150,000 lump sum, which of course is taxed. Kevin from season 6 said that contestants are made aware that they might win a prize different from what's promised. He said he understood this, as most restaurants won't place a chef with lesser experience in an executive position just because they won a TV show. It seems like the latter half of the seasons have been better about awarding prizes as promised. More of these positions have also been at restaurants that Ramsay owns, so he can better see to it that the winner does receive the position. Currently, Hell's Kitchen is in its 21st season, and chefs are competing for a $250,000 cash prize and the head position at Gordon's restaurant in Caesars Atlantic City. Honestly, this video only really came about because I saw a TikTok about the whole Oprah car situation, and since I was a kid when that happened, I didn't really look into it, so I wanted to look into it again and was like, why not make a video out of it? I already kind of figured that this was somewhat the case because usually when you watch a reality television show, the person who wins doesn't go on to have this huge, massive career. And if they do have a successful career after the fact, it's usually not even due to the fact that they were on that reality television show. And then as far as shows like Extreme Makeover and Pimp My Ride, I've always wondered what happens to those people because I don't know any in real life, so it kind of seems like after the camera stopped rolling, they just disappear. I didn't really mention any singing or music shows like American Idol or Making the Band or X Factor because I want to do a separate video on those eventually later on down the line. And I think that there's a little bit more work and research that goes into that because we have to look at the record label and things like that behind the scenes, as well as map out how their careers went and whether or not that's a factor of them being on the show. So yes, that is it for me today, dolls. If you or anyone that you know of has ever won something from a reality TV show, please let me know how that went. Like I said, I don't know anyone that this has happened to in real life, so I'm kind of just, looking at it from afar. So thank you, dolls, so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can stick around. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, make sure you do that so that you can also keep up with me there. And I will see you dolls very, very soon. Bye-bye.